Our next keynote speaker has not only made a name for herself in Mexico, but has been renowned by several media publications as one of the most influential executives in Latin America, including named as a rising star in Forbes' list of most powerful women. She has also participated in conferences such as World Economic Forum on Latin America, The Economist, World Bank, Harvard Business School. She's featured on the cover of Forbes magazine, Mexico. She's in the CNN's expansion group. Her thought leadership on the vastly changing world of business technology have been highlighted in several leading publications, including Fortune magazine and the New York Times. Even at a time of down economy, through challenging and testing times in early 2000, Blanca has led Softtek in its expansion to other parts of the globe, including an investment that they made as the first Latin American company in India. And today, the firm is a leader in Latin America for global IT nearshore services, having sustained more than double-digit growths for the past 15 years. She always believed that our goals may be improbable, but not impossible. One has to pivot, adjust, reinvent, refocus, and steer towards success. Blanca is an active board member of Walmart, Mexico, Goldcorp, ITSM, and the US-Mexico Foundation. And the first woman ever to be included in the highly influential Mexican Council of Business Men. Exactly, at which point the council changed its name to Mexican Business Council. Drop them in. And she's the IT advisor currently to the President of Mexico. Here this morning to talk about perseverance through crisis, carving your path as entrepreneurs, taking advantage of opportunities. It is my great pleasure. Please help me welcome to the stage Blanca Treviño, President and CEO of Softtek.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, how are you? It is great to be here, and it's a lot of pressure when I see so many entrepreneurs in front of me. It's not easy. Let me start by expressing my condolences. It's about the loss of lives of Nepal. I really pledge that we all do as much as we can to help you, but my deepest condolences. As an IT entrepreneur, let me tell you how honored I am to be here. Silicon Valley, in this Indian organization, Silicon Valley, the home of entrepreneurs, India, the IT powerhouse, it can be better than this. And so it is an honor. When Sam told me that I would have this opportunity to address you, I was really concerned because I knew that Jack Welch was going to be here as a keynote speaker yesterday. And I said, after Jack Welch, what can I say? And well, then I remember that we have so much in common. I mean, Jack is it's so inspirational, but we all are entrepreneurs. So I think we have a lot of things in common, and there are many things that we can talk about, and I hope that we'll be able to share our experiences. When I thought about that, as an entrepreneur, I truly believe that one of the abilities that we have is finding opportunities even in circumstances that might be not necessarily as fabulous as we think. So that's why I want to talk today. That's about that I want to talk. This little girl was born in 1907. It's not me. I was not born in 1907. She was born in 1907 in Mexico. When she was 6, she contracted polio. And when she was 17, she was in this bus accident that left her with a broken spine and broken ribs and collarbone. And even though she did recover from those injuries, she was left with this, I would say, medical condition and lifelong pain all her life. And she's Frida Kahlo. I don't know if you have heard about her, but Frida Kahlo, it's today probably one of the most distinguished painters of Mexico. She was later married to Diego Rivera. When they married Diego Rivera, at that time she was the second wife of Diego Rivera. And he was probably at that time the most renowned artist from Latin America, I would say in America. So it was a huge challenge for her to be married to this man in this macho society. But she wanted to be an artist also. She wanted to be a painter. And during those, think about 1920s, 1930s, it was difficult for her being married to this very famous guy who was hired by Rockefeller to do this mural in the Rockefeller Center. And obviously she was always going into the hospital and out of the hospital. She was a woman, and at that time there were not many women artists, painters. But she managed, normally she would focus on self-portraits. And during her lifetime, I would say that most of their paintings were sold, but no more than $1,000. It's the way that was life at that time for a woman. And but she managed. And after many years, I can say that today she's one of the most iconic, like I said, painters. And the last picture and painting that was sold, it was sold by, I don't know, $6-7 million. But it was not during her lifetime. But what we can say, there are so many ways that you can face what people could say disadvantages. Think about Frida Kahlo, this accident, polio, in a macho society, being married to this very famous guy, and you wanted to be someone for you, and you wanted to make a difference and to transcend. And she was able to do that. I think she focused and she was doing best, and she managed to be today the iconic woman that she is, and I did something, not me, there. So I think after many years we can say that Frida found those opportunities in life. She didn't focus necessarily on the things that were against her, and she managed to be very, very successful and to transcend in so many different ways and to be this iconic woman that we, people from Mexico, admire so much, and I think not just from Mexico. And when you think about disadvantages, and that's the reason why I started with this, if you just read the definition of disadvantage, in a way, it says that there are certain circumstances that will probably make things difficult for you to be successful. But again, look at the definition, and it reduces the chances. It doesn't say that you will not have a chance to be successful. As an entrepreneurs, I think we all have faced those disadvantages, or people could have told us about those disadvantages. When you're an entrepreneur and you're a startup, probably you face things like lack of funding, you're trying to position yourself as an important player, but competing with incumbent players. People question if your business plan is the right one, if you're going to be successful or not. And if you just focus on those disadvantages, it is a possibility that you will not even try to go after your dream, after your vision. So one of the things that we have to do, and I think we entrepreneurs have been able to do, is find in that environment what you have in your favor. Because if you focus on those disadvantages, there is, like I said before, an enormous possibility, not just a chance, that you will not necessarily be successful. Softtek, the company that I'm very privileged to represent, we're entrepreneurs. I like to say that our company, it's not necessarily an entrepreneurial effort, but more the result of an entrepreneurial culture. When we started in Mexico, it's an IT firm today, a global company with presence in 3 different continents and 11 delivery centers in different countries, one of those in India, as a matter of fact. But when we started 30 years ago in Mexico, think about Mexico, we're not necessarily recognized as an IT provider. And not just as an IT provider, but Mexico was 30 years ago was not necessarily, they didn't understand what technology could do for the businesses. But we wanted to start this company, and we did. And from the very beginning, we said we want to be a global company. From day one, we say we want to be a global company. Obviously, entrepreneur was also not something that was discussed in Mexico. They didn't understand the term. In Mexico, if you take a look at the list of the 100 most important companies in Mexico, most of those companies have been there for 3 generations, 4 generations. So it's as opposed to what you can see today here in the US, and you hear about Facebook and Google and Infosys and Tata. In Mexico, you don't find many new this generation companies. It's not something that happens. So thinking as an entrepreneur, it was not even something that you can consider approaching a bank to find loans in order to start your company. So we didn't have that capital. So what we did is, if we don't have the capital and we want to be a global company and we want to target those large corporations, probably what we should have is that human capital. And the way we started is by inviting people to join us as shareholders. And so today, Softtek has a little bit more than 200, probably 300 shareholders, different proportions, but at the end of the day, people that are in the different countries in which we are, that they know that their company is theirs, and they really take care of that, and they position the company as a company from that very specific location. Having that human capital for us was a huge difference. We didn't have the capital. We still a private company. Many times they approach us and ask us, how can you be a global company with this presence and in the market in which we play, and you're still a private company? If you look at the list of the global players, most of those global players had their IPO in their very early stages, or they sold part of the company. And in our cases, it was not that. We knew that human capital was the key differentiator, and that's what we've been leveraging, this shareholder or this partnership that we have, and it proved to be successful. And again, most of the shareholders were still working in Softtek. Again, looking at disadvantages, we can redefine ourselves if we focus on strengths. And you can do it as a personal level, like I said, Frida, or you can do it as a company, like Softtek we did, or even as a region. Let me share with you some stories. Probably the first one, it's my own story. Again, being from Mexico, still, and much more 30 years ago, a very macho society. As a woman, you're not expected to work. You are supposed to get married and go back and take care of children. And I didn't go back home, but I do have my kids. I do have a granddaughter. So I did what was expected, but I also wanted to do something different. I graduated from this university in Mexico, and I started working 2 years before I graduated, and I was in this service company that it's part of a very large industrial group. And when you joined that company, you were supposed to sign a contract in which you will resign as soon as you get married, because you were not expected in Mexico to. So it was not. They didn't want to take any chance. So you sign your resignation as soon as you joined the company, agreeing that if you get married, then you knew your way. So they were helping husbands. They were saying, okay, you're going back, and they were doing the job instead of the families pushing and asking you to go back. So I stayed there for, probably 5 years, 6 years. And before I got engaged, I was really mad at why would I be laid off when I was going to get married. And at that time, there were a few of my friends, co-workers of Dinamica, that they were looking and saying, you know what? We can do this for ourselves. This is a service company that is supporting a very large corporation. It was a captive center, if you want to call it that way. And we're doing this for them. Why don't we do this for ourselves? So I think everything was aligned. I focused much more on the things that I wanted to do instead of saying this horrible company is expecting me to resign. So I resigned before I got married, and I joined what is Softtek today. I think it was certainly the best professional decision that I had ever made. And again, it was made because I didn't want to pay attention to the things that I couldn't do. It was more important to look at the things that I could do. And I could start this company, I could join my friends, and I could be through this amazing journey that we've been doing positioning this company. But again, you can focus on things that are against you. In Mexico, again, macho society, It was either working or having a family. It was at the best chance working for a company. There were not entrepreneurs in Mexico. So we look at it from a different perspective, and that's what we had to do. And I think it always proves the right decision. You can do it at a personal level, and you can do it at a regional level. There are not just companies or people that can redefine themselves. There is a small state in Mexico, in the very middle of Mexico. It's called Aguascalientes. The state is called Aguascalientes. The city is called Aguascalientes. I don't know, in Mexico, we do this kind of things that we try to confuse people. But Aguascalientes is a very small state, no more than 1 million people. And they were, for many years, they were depending on mining. And when mining was difficult, people start migrating to the U.S. or other states. And the only thing that they found at that time is that they started having this annual carnival. And believe it or not, that's when they had the highest income during that 3 week, and they will receive more than 7 million visitors. That's the only thing that they saw that they could do. They found no other way of making the state attractive. And in 2003, we acquired this company from GE, and it was in Aguascalientes. And we look at Aguascalientes, what are we doing here? It was a captive center, probably 200 people. And we acquired it because we wanted to obviously have more capabilities to support GE. But we were like many others. We look at Aguascalientes and we said, what are we doing in Aguascalientes? Aguascalientes is just the carnival once a year, no talent here. So we acquired, and we're going to move all the jobs to Monterrey, to another city in Mexico. But the truth is that we start working with Aguascalientes, and they were doing something, again, to focus. They said, we're a small state, yes. We don't have very strong industries, that is also true. But what we can offer, it's a great quality of life. So today, if you look at Mexico, Aguascalientes is probably the state that could offer you the highest quality of life. And they start investing in infrastructure. And today, Aguascalientes reinvented themselves, and it's a state, Nissan has the largest plant in the world, is in Aguascalientes. And it changed completely the face of Aguascalientes. They instead of looking at the industries in which they were not strong, they decided to build different things and focus on things that were different in order to be attractive for investment. Today, probably Aguascalientes has a little bit more than 1% of the population, but they receive almost 10% of the foreign direct investment. They have been very successful in the past 15 years, and it's when they started to be successful when they changed the speech and they start looking at the strengths that they have, infrastructure. They were so well located, if you take a look again at where it is. So they attract people from different states, and they were able to position themselves in this very, very attractive industry, automotive industry. And there are other IT service providers also based in Aguascalientes. Even though it's a small population, they are able to attract people from so many different states that it is very attractive. Today, our largest delivery center is in Aguascalientes. It's not in Bangalore, it's not in Monterrey, it's not in Brazil, it's in Aguascalientes, even though the size is very small. When you face what people think about disadvantages, you're forced to focus on strengths. Again, it's you have that choice. You either try to see how you face disadvantages, or you focus on strengths. Seems like it's the same thing, but it's different. When you say, let me face disadvantages, it's like acknowledging that you're going to live with those disadvantages. When you say, focus on your strengths, it's kind of ignoring your disadvantages and making sure that you can be much more successful. I believe that that's what we did as Softtek. When we started, like I said before, we make that commitment. We were going to be a global company. And people look at us and say, but you're just 8-10 people in Mexico. No references, no money. How can you say that you're going to be a global company, that you want to serve the largest corporations, And it was bold. It was a bold decision, but we wanted to do it that way. We never look at, but those competitors are the IBMs, and those large corporations have their own IT areas. They are not going to allow us to be there. So we decided that we were to focus on something that we were highly recognized, and that was software engineering. And we found that niche, and that's how we were able to get into that market at the beginning, and at least in Mexico. We leveraged that human capital that I told you about, and we supported and fostered that entrepreneurial spirit. And some of our people, those early partners, shareholders, some of them were 25, 28 years, and they said, you know what, I can go to Brazil. I don't have to, we can do this in Brazil. And another one said, what? Well, we can do something in Spain. So in a matter of 10 years, we were small, but a global company, or at least a company that had presence in different countries. And so we didn't have the money. We managed to be global. We managed, I wouldn't say global at that time, but at least we managed to have a presence in those different countries by leveraging things that we were good at. We had those software engineering capabilities. We have human capital, and we did have competitors in Mexico, but we didn't have necessarily, as in many other countries, a very strong industry that opens an opportunity to you if you want to see it that way. There were no other companies like us. And we started probably mid-'80s, and by late '90s, we decided that we want to go bankrupt. So after being very successful, I would say, well, not very, but kind of successful, having that presence in different countries, I think someone gave us that list of all the things that you can make in order to prove if we could turn around the company. And we're very good at what we do. So we commit all those things, and we were in the middle of a bankruptcy. It was very, very difficult. And as still entrepreneurs, because we felt entrepreneurs, the model that we have, like I said before, is by encouraging other people to open and go to different countries and start their own business. We still felt like entrepreneurs, and so we did that. We were in bankruptcy, and we were faced with a very difficult decision. We said we either do like many other entrepreneurs, we close and probably start something different. It was a time in which we had already started looking at the US as an alternative, as a potential market. And we were approached by different companies trying to acquire Softtek or just to get Softtek at paying nothing because we were already bankrupt. And they said, I'm doing you a favor, so agreed to this. But we regrouped and we said, you know what, we can turn around this. We approached all our clients. At that time, probably we were no more than 1,000 people, 800 people probably. We approached our clients and we said, we've been here for you many years. We have shown you that we have been able to compete and offer the kind of services that other companies. We're very focused on delivering what we promise. And yes, we made some mistakes about the way that we have been growing. It's not mistakes about the service that we are providing you. And they gave us a chance. And also what we did, we say, we should not back up. We should, if we were looking at the US, let's go full force to the US. And the US for us was this huge opportunity in which all those Indian vendors were doing amazingly well. And they were leveraging the talent, the Indian talent that is incredible. And they were also leveraging things like the cost structure that is very favorable. And they were already very well positioned in the US. We understood that. We knew that we were going to face that. In order to come to the US, as opposed to what we were doing in Latin America, coming to the US, it was a huge challenge. But we wanted to do it. And so what we did is we look at this and we said, what can we do? We don't have that huge pool of talent. We don't have the cost structure. So we came out with what we know today as nearshore. It was difficult. Think about Mexico. If you Google Mexico, probably one of the images that you'll find is this. I mean, there are so many things that could come, Cancun at least, but not this. But if you Google Mexico, those are the images that you could find. So it was difficult, and we knew it was difficult. But we pay much more attention at the things that we thought were going to make sense for the market. We had no money, no presence, facing a lot of competition. Probably Mexico not necessarily recognized in this market as a IT service provider. But we did have that commitment and those advantages that probably Tom Friedman could keep saying that the world is flat, but the world is round. Columbus proved that. So it's what we did. We said, okay, India is the leader by far. But I think there are certain things, we believe that there are certain things that we can leverage by being so close to the US. And let's tackle, if you want to call it that way, certain deficiencies of the offshore model and complement the offshore model. We always saw India not just as this model that we wanted to follow, but also something that we could complement. And we position nearshore. We leverage the proximity. We leverage all those geopolitical advantages that we had. And we forgot about cost structures. We forgot about languages. And what we said is by being close, we can be more productive because with the teams that we can have, the ratio that we can have between on-site nearshore as opposed to on-site offshore could make sense for a market. And by being close, our business cultures are very similar. The time zone is also something that helps. Mexico and the US have been trade partners for many, many years. Not most, but the largest corporations from the US have had operations in Mexico for many years. So there were different advantages that we managed to leverage. And today, I'm very proud to say that the US, it's our largest operations, that we have 15 years ago, we had just one delivery center in Monterrey. Today, we have 11 delivery centers in India, in China, in Brazil, in Argentina, in Costa Rica, or in Mexico. And I'm sure I'm forgetting. We had one in Spain, and we're just opening one in Budapest. It proved to be right. We focus on those trends, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And today, I believe we're not just recognized by being the leader in nearshore or by being the pioneer of nearshore, but also as a company that opened the doors for Latin America to provide the services. Today, the way that we foster that entrepreneurial culture, we have things like InnoVentures. We truly believe in entrepreneurship. We truly believe that as an IT service provider, we have to embrace innovation and promote innovation. And the way we do it, it's again by opening doors for our people and giving them the space that they can build what they want and they will be supported by the company. I'm very happy to say that also our culture is more global culture. When we started operations in India, it's incredible that no matter if you're in India, in China, in Brazil, in Mexico, there are so many things in common that we have. And I believe that we share this culture and this commitment to transcend. I truly believe that the way that we have been together, and here I have partners, those co-workers, some of those co-workers that were at the beginning of Softtek, we're still here, and some of them are sitting right here with me. And I believe that we all share that commitment. As an entrepreneurs, you have ahead a journey that will be full of challenges. You never know what to expect. Yesterday, I think during dinner, someone, I don't remember the name, I keep forgetting, but the founder of Sun Microsystems said that whenever he's presented a new business plan, he doesn't look at the business plan. What he wants, when he wants to invest in something, he will normally say, are there any at least 10% chances of being successful? Then I want to do it. And I do believe that that's the way we do it. I truly believe that no matter how difficult it is, we like to focus on what we have and the possibilities that we have to make it happen. As an entrepreneur, you have ahead this journey, a journey that I truly believe is going to be fruitful if you are committed to make it happen. If you are open to share your vision and make it your commitment, to not allow yourself to be so focused on the things that might not necessarily be very favorable to you. Whenever I'm invited to talk about entrepreneurship or in panels, I always question those entrepreneurs that keep on talking about how difficult it was, the lack of funding. I like much, much better to talk about how incredible, how amazing it is to see when you go to other countries in which you have been able to transcend and be there. It was for me incredible to go to India and see our team in India and think about the way we started and say, we are here. And we are here and we have so many things in common and we have still so many things to pursue. So enjoy the journey. I truly believe that as an entrepreneurs, we do have journeys that we can enjoy and dreams that we can pursue as long as we, as I said before, focus on our strengths. And there are many strengths. Forget and not pay attention to disadvantages, pay attention to opportunities. And I'm sure that like we are, you will be very proud of the journey and very eager to open new opportunities and say there are still so many things that we can do and we'll enjoy them. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for this invitation. It is my privilege not just to be here, but also to say that as part of Softtek's organization today, we have almost 700 people from India, talented people from India as part of our workforce, and bringing their talent into our company, bringing their enthusiasm. And so very privileged, and grateful for being here. Thank you so much.